A very good evening to all the members. On behalf of the Southern Indian Region Council, I welcome you all for this investor awareness program. Myself, CS Arvind Krishnan, co-opted member from the Auditing and Assurance Board. Today we have with us, when we talk about investor awareness, of course, the first name which strikes the SIRC people is Mr. Vikas Kumar Jain. A wonderful speaker here with us again for an investor awareness program. Welcome, Mr. Vikas Kumar Jain. He a person with over 20 plus years of extensive experience in capital market domain, well versed with business environment, technology, and legal framework. He's currently working with Nsdl since August 1999. Now designated as the Assistant Vice President, he has worked in different functions in Nsdl and currently in the Investor Education, Marketing, and Corporate Communication Department of Nsdl. With this small introduction, I leave the floor to the speaker of the evening, Mr. Vikas Kumar Jain. Sir, over to you.
Thank you very much, Krishnan sir, for very kind introduction. I'm happy to be here again for a session with SIRC. I find you are very active as far as awareness and these kind of educative sessions are concerned. It's a pleasure to see your interest in this thing, and I consider it as my privilege to be a speaker once here for this session. Well, friends, my today's session is about e-services which are being offered by Nstl. We will talk about services which are meant for retail investors, for people like you and me. There are many other services that we have created or that we extend to other kind of stakeholders in the market. For example, there are some services exclusively meant for brokers. There are some certain things which are meant for issuer companies, so on and so forth. In our today's session, we will focus on the e-initiatives or the services which are relevant to retail investors. Let me begin with the first slide. There are some slides on this general introduction to Nsdl. I guess some of you have already attended my previous session, so I will not spend time on these things. Rather, will quickly.
Sorry to interrupt. So screen sharing is not turned on, sir. Can you start the screen sharing part? Screen sharing yet to be turned on. Yeah, click on
yes. Yes,
the third.
Stop.
Yeah, now it's visible, sir. Yeah, now it's in normal mode. Let's put it in slideshow mode so that you will be able to.
Fine.
Yes, sir. Fine, sir. Fine. Thank you.
Okay.
It's running through, sir. Fine.
Yes. I'm not taking time on the introductory slides to Nsdl. I guess some of you would have attended previous sessions, so may be familiar with those things. Let me come to this slide wherein we have shown the diagram or the structure showing how depository system actually works. Knowing this will help you to appreciate what kind of e-services are being offered by Nsdl. So because of that, let me spend some time on this slide. See, this is what you are seeing on your screen, shows or tells you how depository actually works. On the center, you are finding Nsdl. It is electronically connected to other stakeholders in the market. On the top, you are finding issuer companies or registrar and transfer agent, which work as agent of the issuer companies. So these are companies, any other company in the market, maybe listed or unlisted, whichever wants to join depository, they have to establish electronic connectivity with Nstl. So some of the companies establish direct connectivity with Nstl, or some companies opt for indirect route. They appoint RTAs, which are again SEBI registered intermediaries in the market. These companies appoint RTAs to work for the purpose of establishing connectivity with the depository. So either the company itself or its agent RTI will have to establish connectivity with Nstl. What happens when they establish the connectivity with Nstl is that we allot an ISIN code for that company's securities. It may be equity share, it may be some kind of debenture, bond, or maybe some other kind of security. For all kind of securities which that company intends to make available in Dmacc form, we allot an ISIN code. And once ISIN code is available in depository system, anybody holding those shares, bonds, or other kind of security in physical mode can opt for holding the same thing in the Dmacc form. So that's essentially the first step that company has to join Nstl, and then an ISIN code is allotted. There are many, say, by the requirement of SEBI, all listed companies have already joined Nstl. Not only Nstl, listed companies have to join the other depository, that is CDSL also. But for unlisted companies, there was no such rule till recently. Only now SEBI MCA has said that unlisted public limited companies will have to join depository, and then there are certain restrictions. So because of that, all those unlisted companies are also joining depositories in big number of recently. But for unlisted private limited companies, there is no such requirement. But voluntarily, there are many such companies which are joining depository. Okay. On the right hand side, you are seeing clearing corporation, which may be NSE Clearing Limited or Indian Clearing Corporation Limited, as having connection with depository. Why this connectivity is required? It is required for the purpose of settlement. The stock exchange facilitates the trading in shares and other kind of securities, but for the purpose of settlement, it is responsibility of the concerned clearing corporation. Clearing corporation are separate legal entity which are connected with some stock exchange, and they undertake the function of clearing and settlement of the trades which are undertaken on the platform of NSE or BSE or any other stock exchange. So we are not connected with NSE or BSE per se. We are electronically connected with NSE Clearing Limited or Indian Clearing Corporation Limited, which are clearing corporation working in the market. So by that connectivity, we are in position to run pay-in and pay out of the settlements. So whatever trades have happened, we get the obligation information from the clearing corporation. They upload the file onto our system. We pass it on to the concerned depository participant and their clearing members, and they have to discharge those obligations by making those many securities available for pay-in in their pool account. So on payout, we get securities from the pool account of the clearing corporation, and they are transferred to the concerned buying clearing members pool account for onward distribution to the ultimate buying client. So this is the reason these clearing corporations are electronically connected with Nstl. On the lower side, you are seeing DP1, DP2. Like that, we have some 275 different depository participants working with Nstl as of now. They are mainly banks, stockbrokers, some financial institutions, and kind of those companies. So all those companies are organizations which are eligible to become a participant. Most of them have joined Nstl as a participant, and by being a depository participant of Nstl, they are in position to open Dmacc account for the concerned investors or applicants. So if you want to open a Dmacc account, if you want to hold any share, etc., in Dmacc account, you have to open a Dmacc account which can be opened by a depository participant. That participant may be with Nstl or with CDSL, but a Dmacc account can be opened by a depository participant only, not by the depository directly. So you cannot come to Nstl or CDSL to open a Dmacc account. You have to necessarily go to a depository participant. So whether it is a stockbroker or a trading member or a clearing member or a retail investor like you and me, everybody has to open a Dmacc account with any depository participant of their choice. On the left hand side, you will see other depository, which is CDSL in our country. We are having two depositories. Both the depositories are electronically linked so that inter-depository transactions can be facilitated. So one party may be having Dmacc account with Nstl, the other party to the transaction may be having Dmacc account with CDSL. These kind of transfers are also possible because both the depositories are electronically linked. So on a batch mode basis, we share the transactions and update the relevant Dmacc accounts of the investors. So I thought it will make sense to give this background to tell you how the depository works. Now let's go to the various services that we are offering. Let's begin with this thing, Nstl Mobile App. It is a free service for all the investors and very important and useful service from Nsdl. It makes lot of things quite easy for the investors. Anybody who has opened a Dmacc account can download this mobile app, whether you are an Apple user or an Android user. Application is available for both the mediums. You can go to Google Play Store or App Store and you can download this free mobile app of Nstl. Why does it help you? It helps you to see your portfolio at any point of time. There is no dependency. You don't have to call up anybody. You don't have to go anywhere. You can just open mobile app and see what are the shares available in your Dmacc account. You can also see the current valuation of your holdings in the same application. Means it will tell you that so many shares of ABC Limited are having value equal to say 1 lakh rupees, or PQR Limited shares are available in say number 50 quantities available, and their consolidated value is say 5,000 rupees. So number of shares as well as latest available price is also shown in the mobile app. These prices are taken from the price file that we receive from the relevant stock exchange. So as of yesterday's closing price, we are showing the valuation of your portfolio. So that will give you idea that what is actually available in your Dmacc account. And mind it, these are the final balance. What you see here is the true holding. There might be some other kind of errors in the statement received from some other sources. But what you are seeing on depositories mobile app is the true status of your holdings. So if some share is present in this mobile app, you can be sure that it is indeed available. You are indeed the owner of those shares. And if something is not seen here, and you believe that it should have been there, it clearly means that absence of any holding in your statement, what you are seeing here, it means it is actually not present in your Dmacc account. So whenever you are having any doubt that whether I have this share or not, the place where you should look at is maybe this statement what you see on Nstl's mobile app. Same holdings are shown on some other platforms also. We will cover those things in some later slides, but the point I'm trying to make here is that the balances what you are seeing here are the true balances. This mobile app can also be used for confirmation of EDIS. Now, I will cover exactly what is meant by EDIS little later, but EDIS to say in short here is that electronic version of our e-version of delivery instruction slip. Instead of filling up a checkbook like check like leave, your broker can generate an instruction on your behalf. You can view it on the Nstl mobile app. If you are satisfied, you can confirm that debit instruction which has been generated by your broker on your behalf. So mobile app is very handy if you have sold some share. Suppose you have done some trading, you have sold some share. Now you need to give delivery of those shares to your broker. You can do that thing using this mobile app. You can instead of confirmation of EDIS, this mobile app also helps you to generate and submit delivery instruction in favor of your broker also. You can also use this mobile app for participation in the e-voting being offered by companies. Many companies are coming to Nsdl to facilitate their shareholders, etc. For the purpose of voting on so many different resolutions. They also come to Nsdl for arranging their annual general meeting and other kind of meetings, voting on postal ballot, etc., etc. So wherever there is a requirement of e-voting, Nsdl is facilitating companies, and you, investor or shareholder, can participate in the decision-making process of these companies by voting through the Nsdl service. This mobile app will help you to do that. No need to go anywhere, no need to log in anywhere else. This mobile app, one mobile app will be good enough for this purpose as well. Installation process is very simple. Just as you download so many different kind of applications, it is very much similar to that. Yes, for registration, there is one-time registration required. You will have to create a user ID. You will have to set your password. There is MPIN, means mobile PIN, also possible. So using any variation, you can register yourself one time. See, that is one-time process. To be sure that it is actually the investor or the concerned Dmacc account holder who is accessing the information, because this is related to somebody's asset, financial assets related to investments, and there should not be any unauthorized access to this kind of private information. We are ensuring that only after due authentication somebody is able to access the information available through mobile app. I hope I am clear so far. Is it okay? If there is any issue or if you are finding any problem with the flow, please do let me know. Or if you have any question, you may please ask.
Yes, sir. I'll check for the same if there's any update on the same. Sir. So they will put it in chat box. You can continue. Thank you.
Okay. Let's go to the next facility, which is made available by Nstl for investors. We call it IDEAS. It is actually an abbreviation, and the expansion stands something like this: Internet-based Demat account statement. So we were one of the one of the pioneer companies which started using internet power to bring various kind of digital initiatives for the purpose of market participants. So when these words were not so popular, we have been offering digital services from that point. So this idea is also a very old service. I think it has been there since the year 2000 or 2001. And using this facility, what you can do, actually what we were discussing about the mobile app. Mobile app is a recent development. Means 4 years back we started offering this thing. But idea is the internet-based or browser-based version of those facilities. So using internet on your desktop or your laptop or some other kind of device, you can access your Demat account. You can see what is your portfolio, what is the valuation, and you can also see the statement of account for last 12 months also. You would have heard about the Nsdl eCash, electronic consolidated account statement, which we send to all investors on a monthly basis. So that cash is also available in this IDEAS service. If you have lost or misplaced your eCash, unable to retrieve it from your email box or some other place like that, you can simply hook on to this IDEAS platform, and you can see your past 12 consolidated account statement is stored here. With the password PAN being your password to open the document, you can see all your past account statement also. Like mobile app, this is also a free service. No charges for users here. And using this service, e-voting is also facilitated. So if you are holding shares of any company which is going for e-voting, you can on to IDEAS platform. After logging using your password, etc., you can do the e-voting. So here are some of the features which I have described. The same thing is mentioned on this slide also. How to start using this service? Again, one-time registration process is required to be completed here. If you are interested, you can note down this eservices.nsdl.com URL. This is the place where you will have to go and do one-time registration. In the process of registration, basically your Demat account information is called. What is your DP ID? What is your client ID, PAN, using mobile number? We send OTP to registered mobile number. Once you validate it successfully, you are registered, and from that point onwards, you can start using the facility. Okay, on this screen, registration steps have been mentioned. Frankly, there is nothing to explain. It is very simple and intuitive. Anybody who wants, he can simply go to the e-services platform, and it is easy to complete. This brings me to the next and very, very important service, which we are calling SPD. Our mobile app is also named Speed, and this service is named is SPD. Actually, it is an internet-based service which enables you to do whatever was possible through ideas and mobile app, and it also helps you to do debit instructions. You can transfer securities from your Dmacc account to any other Dmacc account. If you are using this service with digital certificate e-token, even off-market transactions are permitted, which are not possible through other mediums. If you have to do any off-market instruction, only option available other than this facility is to give a physical DIS to your DP. Mobile app will not enable you to do that. Ideas will not enable you to do that. But with SPD service in hand, if you are opting for e-token or digital certificate-based user credential, it will help you to transact in your Dmacc account the way you like. Any kind of debit instruction, including off-market transactions, are permitted through SPD platform. There is another kind of user access available for this facility, that is password-based user. Password-based user have some limited functionality. They are allowed to submit debit instruction only in favor of some pre-notified broker's account. Let me take you to that slide first. Sorry, I have not mentioned those things. Anyway, that password-based user will enable you to give only pre-notified debit instruction in favor of 6 pre-notified accounts only. Who are these pre-notified broker account? Means if you are dealing with any particular broker, say you are having a trading account with say ShareKhan or GeoJit, or you are having a Dmacc trading account with say Motilal Oswal. I'm giving names only for example purpose. So if you are selling anything, you have to give delivery of those shares. So this password-based SPD user can give delivery to only those brokers account which are already registered or pre-notified. So at the time of registration, you will have to specify the broker's pool account number, and the debit instruction will be possible in favor of those pre-notified broker accounts only. You cannot transfer securities to some other broker which is not mentioned as a notified broker here. You cannot do any off-market transaction if you are a password SPD user. What is the reason or the logic behind this restriction is that password-based access has certain security concerns. So we are allowing user to do the transfer in favor of identified brokers only. So if I am dealing with say GeoJit is likely to return the excess received securities if there is no obligation on my part, and if I happen to do an erroneous transaction in favor of my broker, they will return the securities. But if I am allowed to do transfer to any other broker with whom I am not dealing with, and if I happen to do such a transfer by mistake, that broker may or may not return the such erroneously transfer of securities. So to mitigate those kind of risk, we are having this kind of restriction in the system inbuilt. Using this SPD facility, margin pledge instructions can also be submitted. I'm assuming that you people are aware about the margin pledge instruction. It is almost a year-old development now. Earlier, securities could have been submitted as collateral by way of power of attorney, etc. also, but all those things have been restricted by SEBI. And if someone has to do pledge of somebody has to give securities as margin, the only way to do is to submit a margin pledge instruction in favor of that broker. So to enable those kind of requirements, we have enriched our SPD facility. If you need to give any share as margin to your broker, this margin pledge instruction can be created using this speedy facility. This facility can be used to monitor the status of your instruction also, whether instruction has only been submitted or it has been executed finally also. So there are certain intermediate status of the instruction. All that monitoring is possible by using this speedy platform. Another important feature of this facility is that e-token based user can freeze the Dmacc account also. Freezing a Dmacc account means transactions are restricted voluntarily. So if I am having a Dmacc account, and if I believe that I am not requiring to debit any securities in coming 2, 3, 4 months, just for an example, I can freeze my Dmacc account so that nobody else, even if he gets unauthorized access somehow to my account, will be able to debit my account. Even my DP will not be able to debit my account if I have frozen it through this speedy facility. Now this freeze is possible in various ways. One is account level freeze, means nothing is possible, no debit, no credit. That freeze may be at ICAI level or company level, means I am freezing shares of only select companies. If I am saying that I want to keep Tata motor shares for trading purpose, I will not freeze it. But SBI shares, if I say that it is for my long-term investment, I can freeze those SBI shares in my Dmacc account, and other company shares can be kept in unfrozen mode. This freeze is also possible at quantity level. For the same ISIN, suppose I am having 100 shares of ABC Limited, I can say that 70 quantities to be frozen and remaining 30 is to be kept as free balance. So that free balance quantity will be available for further debit, etc. But quantity which has been frozen, quantity level or other kind of freeze, it will not be available for any debit instruction. So actually it is a security feature to protect your assets. Here is the process of registration. As I mentioned about ideas also, it is very much similar. This registration process can be completed online. If you are having a single holder Dmacc account, registration process can be completed online. But if you are having a joint Dmacc account, you will have to do some paperwork. If account is to be if there are 2 or 3 holders, then we have to necessarily seek consent from all the holders in paper format, and then only this registration process will be completed. But single holder, ordinary resident account or ordinary resident investors can complete the process of speedy registration fully online. That here's the process for password based user. If you look at point number 4, you will find that what it says is that add CMBP IDs. CMBP ID means clearing member business partner ID given by Nsdl to your clearing member, means your stockbroker. That number is to be mentioned here, and whatever brokers you add here, you will be allowed to generate or submit debit instruction in favor of those pre-notified brokers only. So after OTP validation, etc., the registration process will be over. Once you get a message for successful registration, from that point onwards, you can start using the facility in the full mode. So essentially, it is an empowerment of investors. It removes a lot of dependency on the DP. Otherwise, you may have to visit office of your depository participant, depend upon their service standards, etc., etc. But by using this speedy facility, you are getting real control on your Dmacc account. Now let's talk about the smart card based user registration also. As the name itself suggests, you will need to procure a digital signature if you want to do this, if you want to use this facility. And for this kind of user category, you will have to necessarily do some paperwork. You will have to fill up the form. After filling in some details, you will have to take a print. You will have to approach office of your DP, and then the registration will be confirmed by your DP on the Nstl portal. Until your DP confirms, this registration process will not be complete. Now I'm coming to the next part of e-services, that is e-voting. We have already talked a little bit about the e-voting. As a shareholder, it is your right to participate in all the decision-making process of the company. You can decide what should be the dividend, who should be the director, etc., etc. Earlier, what was happening that because companies were arranging their meetings in big metros only, people residing in other places were practically unable to attend the meetings. Until someone was a very large shareholder, there was practically no incentive, no reason for the retail shareholder to participate in these things. But with the power of e-voting in hands, and especially when these facilities are available in mobile, etc., now anybody can participate in e-voting. Even though you may be having one share of some company only, still you will be able to exercise your right of being a shareholder in that company. So whether you are holding share in paper form or Dmacc form, this Nsdl e-voting facility is common and you can use it irrespective of the form of your holding. So all the companies which are joining Nsdl for this purpose, those e-voting cycles will be available through Nsdl platform. What SEBI has done of recently is that nowadays shareholders don't have to register themselves with different e-voting service providers. See, like Nstl is one of the e-voting service provider, there are other service providers also. CDSL is there, and there are some RTAs like KFin Technologies or CAMS or InTime. They have also been authorized by Ministry of Corporate Affairs to provide e-voting related services to companies. So with that mandate in hand, shareholder may have to use the portal, use the facility which is being subscribed by his company. So a company may go for e-voting with Nstl, some other company will go for e-voting with CDSL. So that way it is a decision of the company concerned. Now as a shareholder, if you are having shares in different companies and you have to do e-voting, you may have to register with different e-voting service provider. One registration with Nsdl, another with CDSL, with InTime, Carvi, etc., etc. In order to remove this concern or make this process easier, what SEBI has done, SEBI has this new rules are saying that single registration will be enabled for all the shareholders, and using depositories credentials, you can use e-voting service of any other service provider also. So Nsdl and CDSL are having this power. They can facilitate you to do e-voting for any company's shares. There are multiple ways to use the e-voting facility. There is a dedicated portal made by Nsdl, which is evoting.nsdl.com. You can use our mobile app for doing the e-voting. You can use Ideas or Speedy facilities, which are browser-based services. And then there are some other companies or organizations which have integrated their websites or their apps with our solution. So for example, there are some banks which have tied up with us, and if you are doing net banking with those banks, they will allow you to come to Nstl e-voting website through their net banking credentials also. We are also providing or facilitating at venue voting options. Means if some company is conducting meeting in physical mode, shareholders may be present on the site, and there they can be facilitated to do the e-voting. Means without use of papers, we can provide tablets, etc., and people sitting there, they can do the e-voting using those mobile or portable devices. So these are the important services. Last one is the Edis Gateway, which we referred to in one earlier slide also. Let's look at how can an investor or a shareholder or a Demat account holder can give a debit instruction in respect of his holdings. So you can see on this slide there are 4 different modes for submission of a debit instruction. First is a conventional way. Fill up a check leaf like slip, the physical delivery instruction slip, sign it and give it to your depository participant, who will do the data entry in the depository system, will verify your signature, and if everything is okay, then that instruction will be executed by your DP in the depository system. Your Demat account will be debited, and the target Demat account, whatever you have mentioned in the instruction slip, that account will be credited with those many shares. That's the first way. Second way is that you might have given power of attorney to your broker or maybe to some other person. So instead of you signing the delivery instruction slip, that person who is holding power of attorney from you can fill up the DIS and submit it to your depository participant. So on that DIS, signature will be of that power of attorney holder. The third option is submission of instruction in electronic format. So using Nstl speedy platform, you can submit electronic instruction, paperless instruction to the depository without having the need to interact with your depository participant. Fourth is that your broker can generate an instruction as holder of power of attorney through Nstl Spice platform. It's a service created by Nstl for our clearing member clients. So using that platform, your broker, if they have been given power of attorney by you, they can generate instruction on your behalf. If you have sold some share, your paying obligations can be taken care by those instructions. This EDIS is the new way of submission of electronic instruction. So what happens in this way is that the broker through which you have sold shares, he generates an instruction on behalf of his selling client. So if you have sold share, he will create an instruction on your behalf through his trading interface. Now that instruction will come to Nsdl's system. We call that system as Dmacc Gateway. On that gateway, whenever we receive any instruction for any Demat account, we send a trigger to the client in form of an SMS or also in form of an email. We send an alert to the concerned Demat account holder that some instruction has been generated by your broker. Once you get that alert, either through SMS or through email, you will have to click on the given link, and then it will lead you to this Nsdl Dmacc Gateway portal. On this portal, after your primary verification, we will identify that it is indeed you. We will show the details of the instruction generated by your broker on your behalf. So we will show that for this settlement number, for this market type, 100 securities of ABC Limited are proposed to be transferred in favor of PQR Broker Limited. So if you are satisfied with the description shown on the screen, if you have indeed sold those many shares to that particular broker, you can say yes to that instruction, what is being shown on the screen. When you say yes, we generate one OTP, we send it to your registered mobile number. Again, you have to enter that mobile number, that OTP on the screen. Thus, validation is completed. And upon successful validation of this particular, we allow the debit to take place. Means your Demat account is actually debited and the securities are credited to that broker's pool account. So that way your paying obligations are honored or completed. So in this mode of instruction, this mode of submission of delivery instruction has been labeled as EDIS. Okay, so submission of delivery instruction electronically is the facility which we have recently made available to our investors. So here are some of the salient features of this Dmacc Gateway. It is completely secured. Most important thing is that it practically eliminates the need of power of attorney to be given to your stockbroker. I am sure you would appreciate that power of attorney was something which has been a matter of concern to the market participants. You would have been reading that in some cases power of attorney has been misused by some of the intermediaries also. With this EDIS thing in place, there is practically no need for the investors or for the traders to give the power of attorney to anybody. Using EDIS, your broker can generate instruction if shares have been sold through them. So to the extent of obligation, this debit instruction can be generated. They are also verified with the exchange portal, and only if there is an obligation standing against that particular PAN, we identify the investor on the basis of PAN. So if we get a confirmation from the exchange, from the clearing corporation, that there is indeed an obligation of so many shares of this particular company for this PAN, for the given market type and settlement number, then only this kind of debit instruction is allowed to be generated in the portal. So only after this much validation by depository, an instruction is generated and presented to the investor for the purpose of confirmation. Again, you as a shareholder or as an investor get an opportunity to verify the details, and through OTP validation, when you complete the verification part, then only securities are allowed to be debited from your Demat account. So these are the security features inbuilt in this EDIS platform, and it has been immensely popular nowadays. People are finding it very useful. I'm sure if you are involved in day-to-day trading, selling, purchase of shares, you would have certainly got an occasion to use this platform. That's all I had thought of sharing with you. If there is anything which you feel I should cover in further, I need to explain further, or if you have any question, please feel free to ask now.
Yes, sir. I will share the questions. Sir, are you able to see the screen, sir?
Yes, yes. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay. I can see the screen. There are 4 questions. Fine. I will read them. If someone has CDSL related Demat account, can such a person use Nstl service? No, sir. If Demat account is with CDSL, we will not have access to the transactions, etc. And Nstl Mobile App or any other service will not be useful. Only consolidated account statement that you will get from depository from Nsdl will show the details of all your holdings across your Demat accounts. So other than that, you can't do much with Nsdl. Second is, I have certain shares in Demat form and are being displayed in the Demat account balance, but not traded in stock exchange. They have become defunct or other reasons. Can I write these shares? I'm unable to understand this query. Okay, write-offs is not possible in this way. क्या तुम स्क्रीन पर हो? पागल हो क्या? Hello, am I audible?
Yes, sir, audible, sir. You're audible, sir. You can continue. The screen visible?
My video is on?
Yeah, it's on, sir. No.
I'm unable to see.
I'll stop the
Okay.
screen share and I'll reshare it. Is my screen visible now?
Yes, that screen has come up once again.
Okay.
See, write-off is not possible by investor. It is not in anybody's hand. Only companies or its RTA can do something. Those shares may not be those shares may not be traded in the market. Only if the company, if it wants, it can execute a debit corporate action, and then only shares can be written off. There is practically no other way. Okay, so I understand this query is coming because there are many shareholders who have got some shares stuck in their Dmacc account, which they are unable to dispose in the market because that company, that promoters might have been, that company may be vanished company, the promoters may not be traceable, it may not be traded, etc., etc. So there is no market price attached to those holdings. So only way left out is that you can transfer it to somebody through an off-market transaction. If the person is willing, you can transfer those shares. Otherwise, there is no other way to get rid of those shares. Number 3, can e-cash be converted into Excel file? Oh, sir, as of now, this is not possible. E-cash is being created in PDF form only. We have not provided any tool to convert it in Excel file. Maybe there are third-party tools or facilities available in the market. Personally, I am not aware of any such particular tool. But from Nstl, as of now, there is no such offering, sir. But I'm making a note of this point. Maybe in future we should be able to come out with something to address this particular issue. Nowadays, stockbrokers provide various reports. Just wanted to understand what is extra one, which looking at reports from Nstl. Okay, sir, the most important advantage in looking at Nstl report or Nstl statement is that it is authentic. It is the true thing. It is not to say that, or what I am saying should not be should not mean that broker's statement or a statement provided by someone else may not be correct. What I am trying to convey actually is that the statement shown by depository is the true status. See, what is the final or authentic record in this whole schema? It is the record which is maintained by depository. So anything which is coming directly from the depository system is the authentic thing, is the final thing. Statements which are generated, reports which are created by other people, they are based on some other data set. The base may be from depository. Basic information might have been taken from the depository, but then they might be doing some other processing, etc. onto that. Because it is not entirely based on the original data given by the depository, it may not be correct in all the cases on the use scenarios. So what you are seeing from Nsdl system is the authentic reflection of your transactions and holdings in the depository environment. Number 5, how is e-voting enabled across Nsdl and CDSL? See, as a shareholder, there is no problem. If you are having shares held in Dmacc account kept with Nsdl as well as CDSL, so using respective facility, you will be able to do the voting across the platforms. So there is no practical issue or concern in this thing. Using Nsdl app or CDSL also is providing some app and other kind of internet facilities for e-voting. Using 2 separate facilities given by 2 depositories, you can do the e-voting for any such company. What is the process of opening minor Dmacc account? Okay, well, while we have not covered it in today's presentation, but process of opening Dmacc account for minor is very much similar to that of opening account by an adult. The difference is that because minor cannot sign, he doesn't have the capacity to enter into an agreement or contract. He has to be represented by a guardian. Guardian can be a natural guardian or can be a court-appointed person. So that representing person, the guardian, will sign the document. His PAN will also be captured. Minor may not have PAN, but his guardian has to have PAN. That person's PAN will be recorded in the depository system, and any future transaction in respect of that Dmacc account, minor's Dmacc account, will be executed through the that guardian person only. When the minor turns up 18 or 21 in some situations, the age is 21 also. When minor becomes major, then details of the guardian will have to be removed from the depository system. Signature of guardian will be removed from the depository system. Minor's PAN, minor signature, minor's updated photograph will be recorded in the depository system and other records. And from that point onwards, minor who has become now major will be allowed to commit any kind of desired transaction. What is the procedure to convert residential status from non-resident to resident for Nstl Dmacc account? Okay. Yes, this kind of change in residential status is possible. You need to give a written request to your DP, and if it is within the norms, DP will facilitate the change in the depository system. Can we obtain the historical cost for shares? Not through depository, this will not be possible. We do not actually come to know at what price you have obtained the shares. Your purchase price is known to stock exchange or to your broker, not to the depository. So if you want to know, you will have to look at the contract note, which might have been given by your stockbroker. That's the evidence of historical cost of acquiring those shares. Person applied for insolvency and his shares in the Dmacc account got attached by the court. Can the person trade those shares meanwhile the case is in process? I'm unable to answer this question. I'm not conversant or familiar with insolvency related regulations and rules. So sorry, I'm unable to answer this question. But yes, if the account has been attached, if that's the operative part, if the Dmacc account has been attached, that attachment itself means that you are unable to transact. So while I don't know much about the insolvency, if the account has been attached, the account holder will not be allowed to touch those shares. Can I have two Dmacc accounts with the same service provider? Freezing a script for the quantity in Dmacc account will have the impact on long-term short action. See, first part is that, can I have two Dmacc accounts? Answer is yes. You can have 2 accounts, 3 accounts, as many as accounts with same service provider or 2 different service provider with the same DP, with different DPs within Nstl, some with Nstl, some with CDSL. There is no restriction on this part whatsoever. It is entirely up to you to open as many as Dmacc account, as many as you want. But then you have to be reasonable. You have to understand that every Dmacc account will come along with some cost. You will have to spend that much effort to monitor your holdings, transactions spread across the accounts. So the rational thing is that open Dmacc account, multiple Dmacc account only if you need. For most of the retail investors, for people like you and me, one Dmacc account is sufficient. Second part is that freezing a scrip or quantity in Dmacc account, whether it will have any impact on the long-term holding or short-term holding. Answer is no. Freezing doesn't have any effect on period of holding of your assets. It remains the way it was. This freezing doesn't affect, it doesn't come at all and in that way. Number 12 is it possible to have more than one DP to an investor? I think the question is that whether one person can have a Dmacc account with more than 1 DP or not? Answer is yes. As I explained in earlier portion also, number of different Dmacc accounts can be opened by any investor. Number 13, if person have 2 or more Dmacc account, then all Dmacc account holding will be displayed by Nstl with consolidated holding from all Dmacc account. The answer is yes. If you are having multiple Dmacc account, holdings across these accounts will be consolidated and presented in the single account statement that you will receive from Nstl depository. Or if you have opted for statement to be given by CDSL, CDSL will also do the similar consolidation, and that will provide you the consolidated account statement. Not only holdings available in Dmacc account, but holdings with different mutual fund companies, which is in folio form, not in Dmacc form, but in folio form. Even those information, those holding information we get from the concerned AMCs, and we display in the same consolidated account statement. Number 14, can we maintain multiple trading account per single Dmacc? See, trading account and Dmacc account are two different things. I have already explained that there is no limit on opening Dmacc account. You can have multiple Dmacc account with 1 DP or with different DPs. Similarly, you can open multiple trading account with different brokers. Trading account multiple trading account with same broker is not permitted, but one trading account you can have with say one trading account with Motilal, another trading account with Geojit, another trading account with ICICI Direct, HDFC Securities. So that way you can have multiple trading accounts. Again, the point is open multiple accounts only if you need. 15. When shares are placed for availing loan against shares, the shares are transferred to different Dmacc accounts, and for practical purpose they are freezed. Then if the same scripts are purchased and sold, the shares are sold from latest purchase other than placed shares. The period of holding to be computed for the latest purchase or the earlier. See, for this kind of purposes, FIFO concept is followed, though it is nothing to do with the depository. For the purpose of taxation, I believe FIFO method is relied upon. 16. In the annual information statement, in the newly formed IT website, and the long-term and short-term provided by Nstl seems to be not fully correct. How to rectify? I'm not clear with this particular thing. I have not personally seen such a thing. I do not think that we are providing this long-term and short-term related thing to Income Tax Department for this annual information statement. But as I have not seen this thing myself, it's not appropriate for me to comment further. I'm sorry, I don't know much about this thing. Can we change the freezed quantity at any time for the same shares? Oh yes, it is your asset. You are the owner. You can decide what to do. You can freeze, unfreeze, when and whenever you want. That's all. All the questions are taken.
Yeah, those were the questions, sir. And thank you for an excellent session on Investor Awareness Program for Nstl services for investors, sir. We look forward to have more sessions on these topics in upcoming days.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the excellent presentation, lucid presentation.
Thank you.
Thanks for the time.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.